Very good morning to all of you. In continuation with the yesterday's lecture, total 11 participants. Okay, just this much MB is required for 45-50 minutes class. 50 MB or 100 likha hai because some students were saying it consumes 250. Around 250 MB. Because I am taking classes in IT also, they were saying 250 MB data is required. Okay, maximum 200 MB. And general students are having a data package of 2 GB daily or 1 GB. Okay, all are having 2 GB, na? And okay, someone. Okay, so is it manageable throughout the day? 2 to 3 classes are going on frequently, I think. Daily you are having 2 to 3 classes? So no problem in attending the classes? Um, okay, maximum in a day, how many classes you can attend? 3 or 4? See, if any problem is there, then we can 2 hours daily. Regularly, 2 classes are going on, or it is the number which you are saying कि daily we can attend 2 hours classes. And all are attending the classes on mobile or laptop, desktop. Okay, okay. Maximum through mobile. So it becomes difficult na to visualize. Okay. Have you saw Google Classroom? The books I updated. Okay. Okay. So I must consider 200 to 250 MB is required for one class. Okay. Fine. Maximum 250 na. Maximum 250 MB required. Chalo, okay. So we should start the class. Yesterday we have discussed very basic signals, signal properties, different types of signals. Now, in continuation with power and energy signal, we have discussed what do you mean by power signal, what do you mean by energy signals. We have discussed the formulas and all. Now, few important parameters we are discussing it today in continuation with that. The power and energy signal. The square root of the power is a root mean square RMS value. This is a very important quantity as it is the most widespread measure of similarity and dissimilarity among the signals. To find out the square root of the power and to calculate signal to noise ratio. If you have heard, this is a very important parameter SNR, signal to noise ratio. What it identifies? Whenever in communication system we are sending any signal, how much noise is associated with the signal. If noise ratio is high, then what it means, it is not easy to identify the original signal. Due to noise, attenuation, distortion will happen, and it becomes very difficult to identify the original signal from the noise signal. So signal to noise ratio is given by 20 log 10 under root signal power upon noise power. So noise power should be very less, then this quantity will be very high, SNR should be high. It is such that a constant signal whose amplitude is RMS holds the same power content of the signal itself. There exist signals for which neither the energy nor the power are finite. This I have told you yesterday also. So it is a ramp function. Some signals which don't have finite energy or finite power. A signal with finite energy is an energy signal. A signal with finite and different from zero power is a power signal. Power signal will have infinite energy. And all practical signals which we deal in our laboratories, in our day-to-day life, should have finite energy, and thus they are always energy signals. It is impossible to generate a real power signal because this would have infinite duration and infinite energy, which is not possible to do. So all practical signals have finite energy and thus are energy signals. Now, very important operations we have to discuss what we can perform on signals. If two signals are there or a single signal is there, I want to delay that signal by the signal is starting at t equals to 0 time. If it is starting from here, I want to delay that signal by few seconds. In some application I require that, then what I will do, use I will delay that signal by t equals to 2 milliseconds. If I want to generate that signal before the 0, that means at t less than 0, then I will write t is equals to minus 2. So these are the signal operations which we can perform on individual signal. So what are the signal operations? And these are very important in convolution. In signals and systems, have you studied convolution? Linear convolution? Have you studied convolution or you are hearing it for the first time? Okay, so what is the steps to perform convolution? Steps to perform convolution. Anybody remembers? The procedure to convolute two signals. And what do you mean by convolution? Convolution means multiplying of two signals. If we are dealing the signals in time domain convolution means direct multiplication of signal. In time domain, direct multiplication means convolution. In frequency domain, you can directly multiply the signal, but in time domain, we cannot directly multiply the signal. There we apply convolution property. So you don't know the steps of convolution because all these things are required. There are two ways to simplify convolution, by graphical or by mathematical. If you are performing mathematical operation, then you should know all the that GPs and APs you should know, progression formulas. Then it becomes easier. Otherwise, you can draw it graphically also. So, useful signal operations, shifting, scaling, and inversion. No one remembers the steps of convolution. एग्जाम दिया था ना, पढ़ा था एग्जाम में. So you should remember that because here generally sometimes numerical can be asked, but it is not properly mentioned in your syllabus. So first operation is a shifting operation. A signal can be shifted very easily. It could be anticipated or it could be delayed. Delayed means at times t is equal to small t f of t. This is my original signal. Function of t with respect to t greater than equals to 0. If I want to delay the signal, what I will do, I will add some amount of time. Small t is equals to capital T. It could be 1 second, 2 second, 10 second time, anything. So the signal will be delayed. Signal can be anticipated also, but this will not remain a causal system. Second one is your causal system. Then useful signal operation, scaling. Scaling means multiplying. Multiplying means you can expand or you can compress the signal. So here in time scaling, compression or expansion of a signal in time. So this is my original signal function f of t with respect to t. Now if I want to compress the signal, I will multiply it in time domain. Phi of t is equal to f of 2t. So by 2t this signal is compressed. This is my compressed signal. For expansion, I will divide the time domain t by 2. The signal will get expanded 2 times. Compression in t we will multiply, expansion in t we will divide. So this you have to remember whenever we are expanding the signal, the parameter through which we want to expand should be in the denominator. So is it clear? Compression, expansion of signal, because this is used in your interpolation and decimation process in multi-rate DSP. Because many in a multi-rate DSP processor we require n number of signals which are having different rates. कहीं पे है rate मेरी 2 kilohertz, I want to change that rate, so either I have to compress the signal or I can expand by that parameter. So this process is known as interpolation and decimation. Upscaling, sampling and downsampling, it is known as. So this you can see, should I hold for this? Next is your useful signal operation, shifting, scaling and inversion. Scaling we understood here, it is just shown mathematically. Then this is the compression. Here one important parameter is that scaling factor, that is A. A greater than 1 and A less than 1 defines many things. So A greater than 1, then this is signal compression, and A greater than 1, this is my dilation. Vice versa will happen for A less than 1. So always we should see what is the value of the scaling factor. It is 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, then this will be reversed. If it is 1, 2, 3, 4, then it is a compressed and dilated. Otherwise, the function will be reversed. If it is 0.1, so here compression of signal will happen. So we should check whether A is greater than 1 or A is less than 1 while choosing scaling operation. Is it clear? How many participants? 15. Okay. So this is my scaling operation summary. Okay, students, I have given you numerical. Have you tried those numerical to simplify? Have you saw that book which I have shared with you? Do you know I have given you some homework? Okay. So is it easy to simplify those numericals? Because those are very basics. So prepare a copy and always write down these topics which I am discussing. In every class I used to say, because क्या होगा, क्लास तो अटेंड कर ले फिर भूल जाओगे क्या पढ़ा था क्या नहीं पढ़ा था तुमने. Okay. So next is your time inversion. See, all these properties are used in your convolution process. So time inversion means mirror image of f of t about the vertical axis. Time axis is this. So reverse of this will be around the vertical axis. phi of t is equal to f of minus t. So this type of signals are known as which signal is there? In classification we have studied mirror image about the vertical axis is which type of signal? In the classification we have studied this. Very good. It's an even signal. Mirror image signal about the vertical axis is your even signal. So this is my time inversion property. This is required in the first step of our convolution. Original signal to signal, I want to convolute x of t and f of t. X of t will remain as it is. I will take the inversion of second signal and then I will provide delay to that signal. So these steps are required in convolution. So is it clear? This is the mirror image of this signal f of t, f of minus t, f of t, f of minus t. With example, it is shown in the slide. Now, you can combine all these operations at a time also. Combined operation f of t is equal to f of a t minus b. Scaling, shifting and inversion. All operations you can perform, and see these operations can be performed in block diagram way, in a graphical way, or you can design your own hardware to implement such operations. So two possible sequences of operation: time shift f of t to obtain f of t minus b. This signal, first what I will do, I will first multiply t by a. I will do scaling, then I will delay that at by time b. Time scale f of t by a to obtain f of at. Now time shift f of at by b by a to obtain f of at minus b. So all these operations you can perform together. Now this is basic, you have studied all these things, but just revising it because these are helpful for your DSP subject. So this is which function? Unit step function. 14 seconds. Okay. Unit step function we all know. Generally it is representing the causal signal. Causal signals mean signals with t greater than equal to 0. T greater than equal to 0. T less than 0 होगा तो signal will be your non-causal signal. So u of t is equal to 1. T greater than equal to 0. Here we are showing it. ठीक है? And this is also a unit step function. U of t is a denotion delaying u of t minus 2, t minus 4 by any time you can delay it. Then in continuous and discrete domain, this is my continuous signal. We all know it is varying continuously with respect to time. This is again my sampled signal. So this is my discrete unit time. U of t in continuous domain, u of k or u of n with your discrete domain. RAM function in continuous domain, this is my RAM. In discrete also I can draw it by applying sampling. Now the very important function is my impulse function. Impulse function means it exists only at students just wait for 5 minutes. Now I'm muting. Hello. Yes, students. So this is my impulse function, unit impulse function. We all know it exists at time t equals to 0. It is just like a single pulse. It can be delayed, it can be anticipated. At t equals to 1, you can put, at t equals to 2 milliseconds, you can put. So this impulse function, because every signal, every system can be represented in impulse function way. And how we can get, see, basic, the first signal generation is your impulse. We can get unit step function by using impulse function only. How we can get that, we will discuss. Multiplication of a function by impulse function. What will happen if I will multiply phi t by del t, phi of 0 del of t? मल्टीप्लीकेशन से क्या होगा, 1 से आप मल्टीप्लाई करोगे तो you will get that number only. Phi of t, you can delay del of t minus t, the original signal will be delayed. Sampling property of the unit function, you can sample the signal from the range minus infinity to infinity for causal system from 0 to infinity. Sampling of unit function. Now properties of unit impulse function, very important. The unit step function is the integral of the unit impulse function. क्या है यूनिट स्टेप फंक्शन? इट इज द इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ द यूनिट इम्पल्स फंक्शन. डेल यू बाय डेल टी, sorry, du by dt is my del t. Del t is my impulse function. Impulse function. So integration of this impulse function will give you u of t. So we should know, if I am having my impulse function, I can draw, I can find out the unit step function. So del t del t into dt integral will give you unit step function. For t less than 0, 0. For t greater than equal to 0, it's 1. Properties of unit impulse function. Discrete time impulse function, we know. Discrete time, initially we discussed continuous. This is discrete. Del n is 1 if n is equal to 0. But you can delay, you can shift this signal, but it is only a single signal. Continuous time complex functions, while simplifying to find Fourier transform, Z transform, you can have exponential functions also. So a e to the power j omega t in continuous domain. In discrete domain it is e to the power s n t. n से replace हो जाएगा ये, ठीक है? It will be replaced by n. Omega is replaced by ohm. Here we have written sk is equal to n t. Euler's function, a very basic mathematical function. A e to the power j omega t is given by a cos omega t plus j a sin omega t. What is cos omega t? We know. What is sin omega t? We know. So we get e to the power j omega t is equals to cos omega t plus j sin omega t. See, this is required. This functions to simplify numericals. Now you all know exponential function e to the power st or e to the power j omega t. This exponential function where s stands for sigma plus j omega. This is plotted on x-axis and y-axis. In a graph, you can plot this. S is converted into z domain, z transfer. So e to the power st is splitted as e to the power sigma plus j omega t is equals to sigma plus j omega t. It is expanded s axis. S plane we all know. We know z plane. S plane is defined by sigma plus j omega. So you can see this calculations, e to the power sigma t, e to the power j omega t. E to the power j omega t we all know by Euler's function. It is cos omega t plus j sin omega t. S complex sigma minus j omega conjugate of s. Then E s star t conjugate of this s plane is also there, and it is given by this equation. So we should know while simplifying this. That's why I'm discussing this important functions. So this is exponential function e to the power st or e to the power j omega t. This you can see exponential function e to the power sigma t. This is one of the function. This is the other function, sigma less than 0, sigma greater than 0. S is equal to sigma plus j omega plane. For sigma less than 0, sigma greater than 0, signals are shown. Complex frequency plane, that is known as S plane, sigma plus j omega. Left half plane defines you exponentially decreasing signals. Right half plane exponentially increasing signals. Signals of constant amplitude, monotonically increasing, decreasing exponentials. Sigma j omega plane, that is known as frequency plane or S plane. Now, basics of linear systems. Till now, signals were discussed. A system is characterized by input, output, and rules of operation. It is a mathematical model of the system. N number of inputs, n number of outputs, and some processing will be done, either by analog or digital. Here we are discussing digital signal processing. And system characteristics are, it should be linear, shift invariant system. So system, study of mathematical modeling, analysis and design. Analysis, how to determine the system output given the input and the system mathematical model. If I am having system mathematical model and inputs, I can find out the outputs. If I am having inputs and outputs, then I have to define a particular mathematical model for that system. Design or synthesis, how to design a system that will produce a desired set of outputs for given input. So this is a big challenge to decide which mathematical model, which system I should use so that I can get a desired set of outputs for given inputs. SI, SO, MIMO, you all know single input, single output. This is a very basic system. Multiple input, multiple output, little bit complicated in designing and executing. Response of a linear system. Total response is 0 input response plus 0 state response. The output of a system for t greater than equal to 0 is a result of two independent causes. See, this we will discuss later on because you won't understand this thing right now. Real systems are locally linear. See, always we have to design a system which is linear. What do you mean by linear system? Anybody knows linear system, the linearity property? I think you have studied linear systems. The systems which are behaving linearly with respect to input changes. As soon as input changes, your output will change. So that is my linear system. So this is my causal linear system. Causal कैसे है? As t greater than 0. Causal system, linear system, as input changes, the output is continuously changing. This is causal, but it is a non-linear system. You can see locally linear around f0. यहाँ जाके ये थोड़ा linear हो रहा है. Otherwise, it is totally a non-linear system. So we should know linearity property which you have studied in SS. And shift invariant, because numericals will be asked to find out whether the system is causal, whether the system is linear, shift invariant or not. So we should know these properties. नहीं पढ़ा है तो एक बार revise कर लेना. It will become easier for you to understand. Now, linear systems. We define a system as a unit that converts an input function into an output function. F of x input system H, g of x. So how I will define g of x, which is of very much importance. G of x will be given by sum transfer function. This is my sum transfer function through which I am multiplying the inputs. F of x. F of x multiplied by the transfer function will give you g of x. And how I will find this transfer function? Transfer function will be the ratio of gx upon fx. This is the definition of transfer function. So gx, independent system operator or transfer function. This h is my transfer function. G of x is my independent variable. So is it clear? Linear systems. And what you have to do, try to simplify those numericals which I have given to you. And linearity property, shift invariant property. You should know because you have to simplify numericals on those. And now I will take your attendance also. And in next class, we will discuss this LTI system. For time domain, it is LTI. Don't get confused. For frequency domain, it is shift invariant systems. Clear? So students, please give me attendance. Participants, chat. Okay. Is it alphabetical over here, participants? ठीक है. Aditi, Amisha, Akshat is absent. Akshat नहीं आता है क्या जनरली क्लास में? Amisha, Arpit, Avantika, Charu, and I will stop the recording now.